This will be our 5th and final race of the year in the 2024 BF4 series in Japan, and we are underway here at the Suzuka circuit. Lotus Coughlin gets a good jump from the pole position. Chris Britza on the number 77 machine staying strong right in behind that 72 though off of the start. Right to the outside goes Chris Britza looking for an early move here. We've seen this go awry multiple times before here at the start of Suzuka, but everyone makes it through the first couple corners okay. Still a little bit of too wide action behind, and here comes Chris Britza to the inside, still trying to make a move for that first spot. Couple cars still side by side back there. I believe that was Camden Parker in the 76 machine. Now here comes a run. Will the 77 get side by side coming down into the double right-hander? I think he is. Yep. Oh, squeezing over goes the 72. What a send into the corner by the 77, and keeps 2 on the curb, and the 77 goes off and takes the lead. Take another look at that incredible send on the first lap by Chris Britza in the 77 Gold Dames machine on the pole sitter. Lotus Coughlin as they go up the hill and headed down out of the left and into the double right. The 77 right here actually has a lane. He's on the inside. Has actually a wheel in the grass right here. Nothing there yet. We're yet to hear if any penalties are going to be assessed to either of these drivers for potentially corner cutting for the 77, potentially aggressive driving for the 72. But you see right here, the 77 has the lane. He's there alongside, but the 77 waits so long before she realizes that the 77 is on her outside, and at that point the 77's already in the grass, and just sends it as far as physically possible into the corner without spinning out. And you can see right here, you see the dust cloud in behind the car. There's actually going to be skid marks on the racetrack from where he had to slow down there, and incredibly he actually holds on to that car and retains the lead out of the double right-hander. Incredible piece of driving there by Chris Britza. That is why he is in the top level, or should be in the top level of the motorsports realm. That is incredible. And here it is, Lotus Coughlin right up to the back of the number 77 now as they head into corner number 1. A big dive it'll be into corner number 1. Nothing there yet for the 72 though, as they're going to be able to head up the hill with no issues. Chris Britza a little bit slower out of 2 as they head into 3 and 4 and 5. And to the outside now goes the 72, still trying to make a move, and a bit wide there by Chris Britza. That's going to allow the 72 to catch up, and she cuts across the front end of the 77. What a move to reclaim the first spot from the pole position. Let's take a look on board with Lotus Coughlin as this move takes place. This is down into corner number 1. Gets the slipstream off of the front stretch there. Both with relatively good pace out of corner number 2. Now as they're going to head up into the snaky section, for lack of a better term. This is corner 3, corner 4. And Chris Britza goes a little bit wide there out of corner number 4. Gets into 5 okay. Goes a little bit wide once again. That allows the 72 to get back to the inside. And right there, dives it in so far, trying to keep the spot. And the 72 just gets such a good run that there's no chance for the 77 to come back. And what a move by Lotus Coughlin to reclaim the first spot after losing it on the first lap. And this will be a big move down the front stretch for Maki Kitagawa, looking for the 3rd spot and final spot on the podium on Shoka Makinahara. These two have a past just this season as well. Oh, and it's going to be close. The 7 squeezes, but Maki Kitagawa makes it through to the 3rd spot, and she's going to start setting sail. One more look here. You'll see how close it is. 53 goes to the inside there. Or the outside, excuse me. And right here, the side-by-side headed down in the braking zone. And this is where we've seen it come undone so many times before. Usually it's on the first lap, sometimes in others. And right here, the 7 tries to squeeze the 53, but the 53 is wary of the 7's past mistakes, and she says, I'll just send it in deep on the outside. And it sticks. So to her credit, that move did pay off, and Maki Kitagawa now in the third and final spot of the podium. And we'll see what happened just a moment ago to the number 69 machine, Bluff Racing's Damon Vaught. Gets into the corner, and it looks like he locked up the brakes a little bit. The car just didn't steer, and he gets beached in the gravel trap. That is an unfortunate incident. So because he doesn't have any damage, he'll likely be able to get dragged back to the pits. But that is definitely inopportune for the team trying to get another top 10 for the organization this year. Unfortunate part is that he was in position to get a top 10 today, possibly if things went right for him, sitting in the 12th spot. And just a misjudgment there, goes wide and gets stuck. But like we said, he didn't have any damage, so he will be able to restart, but at the tail end of the lead lap, if he doesn't go a lap down, which he likely will. But it's a big track, you never know. So this is on board with third place Maki Kitagawa. She heads down the front straightaway here. Once again getting a big tow on second place driver Chris Britzer down the front stretch. Down into the braking zone, gains a whole lot of ground. Oh my goodness. And this could be the battle for the second spot as she looks to the outside. Will she get a run? Chris Britzer goes a bit wide once again. We saw this issue with him early in the race when he was battling the 72 for the lead. The 53 gets a massive run and goes to the outside. Will she hold the pass though? That is the question. She has the inside line out of the corner, and she will start to pull away in the second spot for Maki Kitagawa. Another look at that move from the top-down camera angle. The pink and white car is Maki Kitagawa. The 77 red and black car is Chris Britzer. In danger of losing a podium spot after having such a good start to the race. And those old tires are not doing him well. And look at that, just a much better exit. Oh, and that was very, very close, but Maki Kitagawa, a very professional race car driver, manages to pull that one off. Great pass there for the 53 team. Oh, massive crash down here. That's 130R. One car around. That's Wyman Malinovic in the Okadai Motorsports machine. And a torn up high-tech. That is Michelle Pasternak. And that is the first big accident of today. The yellow flags will fly. And unfortunate, that was battling for the 12th spot on the racetrack. Here's another look. Big impact for Michelle. Still not entirely sure what happened there. Big damage on both cars. I don't believe that Wyman Malinovic is going to be able to continue despite the fact that he drove off. But we're going to have to get another angle of that. He's on board with Michelle Pasternak. Big run on Wyman here down the straight. Deeks to the inside. All's fair. Goes to the outside. Oh! And neither driver wanted to relinquish that position. And to me that just looked like a racing incident. Here's another look. This is on board Wyman Malinovic. This is such a tight corner, it's very hard to have two cars go through there clean. Oh. Yep, and left front suspension completely destroyed on that Malinovic machine, so that answers our question on whether he can continue on or not. One more look at it here. Coming down the straightaway into the braking zone. This is a very hard move to pull off if you're Michelle Pasternak. Although she should have probably backed out of this move. You can understand it's getting a little bit towards the end of the race. And there you see Michelle gets a little bit loose going in. Overcorrects, gets into the side of the 16 as he's turning in. Goes over the front end. Lands down. 16 machine. Spins out. You can see the entire left side pod ripped open on that 16 machine. The left front tire completely off of the ground after the damage. And a big impact there for Michelle Pasternak at the end of the crash. Michelle Pasternak and Wyman Malinovic bring out the first yellow flag of the day. Coming down the straightaway here, you can see the number 2 gets to the inside. And right here, the contact is going to be made. And this is going to be a big impact into the outside wall for the number 2 machine. Up into the air for a second. And heavily back down into the gravel trap. Both cars out. We'll be back after these short messages. Well, here's a look at the current battle on the track right now. That is Chris Britzer trying to hold off Shoko Makinahara for the final spot on the podium. And we're getting down to it. These drivers are starting to get aggressive. We saw what happened battling for 12th. What will happen battling for the final spot on the podium. Shoko Makinahara desperately trying to crawl her way out of the points hole that she put herself in after the reckless driving penalty, and she makes a brilliant move to the inside, a clean pass on the 77, and he tries to come back, but it doesn't quite work. A little bit of a nerve-wracking moment there for the number 7 team, I'm sure. And the 77 of Chris Britzer trying to come back on the outside, and the 7 shuts that move off, coming into corner number 1, and Makinahara takes the 3rd spot away. Here's another look on board with Shoko Makinahara. The 77 of Chris Britzer, formerly a Red Bull Junior Team driver himself. And look at that. I thought she was going to go to the outside. She dives to the inside. And look at how close that was there. 77 was vying for it. But not quite. Shoko Makinahara manages to get away with the 3rd spot for now. It's going to get aggressive in these final laps. Should be interesting to see what happens. Oh, and another accident. That's a 130R again. Will the yellow... So this will give you an idea of what's going on. To the inside goes Kyle Reed. Oh, and just misjudges it. I don't know if he had the line or not. It should be interesting to see how the stewards call that, but to me it looked like he didn't quite have the line there. Let's take another look. So this is another look. The 17 makes his move to the inside. And at this point, I don't believe he has a wheel in yet. Okay, now I believe he's got the nose in. Yes, he does. Wheels are nearly side by side. And the 4 comes over. No, I actually take it back. The 17 did have a lane there. So the 4 just not quite paying attention to the fact that the 17 was to his inside. And that could have been spotter error. That could have been driver error. We're not entirely sure yet. But climbs over the front of the number 4 machine up into the air. Does a little hop. Comes back down onto the ground. Unfortunately, that car is probably done for the evening. I'm not sure about Finnhouse's car. We're going to have to get another look from a different angle there. But it looks like he might be okay. But the way that 17 landed, I'm not sure he can finish off this race. Because he's still in the pits right now with 3 or so to go. So it should be interesting. It's not going to be that long. So he might get it back out there. But we'll just have to see. Coming down the straightaway, basically the exact same thing that we saw earlier with Michelle Pasternak and Wyman Malinovic. To the inside goes the 17, except this time the 4 kind of cuts, cuts across the nose of the 17 machine and causes that issue. So once again, still waiting on word for the stewards as the 4 is still driving out there. The 17 is not, so we'll have to see. So it'll be 1 lap to go this time by Lotus Coughlin trying to defend from the current points leader, Maki Kitagawa. White flag will be in the air this time by Lotus Coughlin. Attempts to defend a dominant day here in Japan. Maki Kitagawa, though, looking for that title of most wins on the season. Already has 3 to a name this season. It's been a very fast year for that 53 team. And they're looking to get another one here, but Lotus Coughlin has been relatively perfect today. A couple issues on early pit stops, but after that, She drove back up, took the lead, and never looked back, but she's going to have to look back now as that 53 has closed the gap to within a second, and it is shrinking very, very quickly. In second place, Maki Kitagawa, looking to go for a championship run. Both of these drivers well within the championship fight, and it will likely stay that way as long as nothing crazy happens these past couple races, these last couple races. But you never know. Team Itasha looking for their 4th win of the season, right in behind AUS Racing. Lotus Coughlin looking to win from pole. She's got the most poles on the year so far, but that 53 has closed the gap. It is now within about 4/10, and they're now basically nose to tail as they head down into the chicane for the final time today, out of the right-hander. And the 53 machine of Maki Kitagawa closing the gap slowly but surely. Going around the outside, not quite enough of a run there yet, but it'll likely come out of the corner here. Alright, 130R, this is where everything broke loose earlier. Maki Kitagawa looking for the outside move, dives to the inside, all for the lead on the 72 machine of Lotus Coughlin. This side by side headed down into 130R. Who will give it up? It's going to be side by side. Unbelievable racing as the 53 of Kitagawa goes through to take the first spot. And now Maki Kitagawa looking to get a 4th win of the season. Headed down into the low speed chicane for the final time today. The 72 sends it in, but it's not going to be enough. A final lap pass from Maki Kitagawa will likely be the deciding factor as they come across the line. It was close, but Maki Kitagawa will win the race. Unbelievable job by Maki Kitagawa as she holds off the final charge there from Lotus. Here's another look at that incredible final lap pass. Maki Kitagawa on board with the number 53 machine. They head down into the braking zone, the left-handers. And then this is coming to 130R. The 72 doesn't get a good exit. The 53 does. She knows she has a run. She looks to the outside to try and fool the 72. She blocks. And now Maki Kitagawa has free real estate in front of her. They almost bang wheels, but the 72 does the nice thing here. Knows she can make it around the outside. So she backs out of it and doesn't get a good exit of the corner. And the 53 machine of Maki Kitagawa, who looked to be out of this with 1 lap to go, is around 1.5 seconds back from the lead car of Lotus Coughlin. And look right here, she actually went pretty wide and almost lost the spot to Lotus as they were coming across the line here. And you'll see just how close it is. Not quite as close as a few of the finishes we've had this year, but still relatively close. About a car length over the number 72 machine of Lotus Coughlin for the win there. Maki Kitagawa, unbelievable drive by Team Itasha and them today. That will assist them in the championship hopes for 2024. And a little bit of contact after the checkers there. They almost come together.